making reels in his sauna. I was like, people that don't take their phone in the sauna are stupid and retarded. Hilarious.
I think it's always so funny how these people have all these extreme opinions. And
yeah, I think it's just on purpose to go viral. No?
Yeah. But I also think that some people actually believe that dumb shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, sound work, cameras works.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And need to close this door, please.
How long do we have?
Do we need
All
to
time.
cloud?
Okay,
I
perfect.
don't have customer anymore. And if it's self-service, each next hour just plus 500.
Perfect.
But you remember that memory only 4 hours.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much.
That's
See you.
no way I'm gonna
Come
be
here
here
and
before.
push this door, please.
Oh, yeah.
This side. Because you will have full.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, good luck. You can test me if you need some help.
Perfect. Thank you. See you. So yeah, we're rolling out.
Yeah, let's start with that story.
No, he's fucked up, man. I have trust issues. I haven't seen you for a long time. But it's a really cool
Yeah,
story.
but if you tell it now, then it's going to be on video that you don't want me to talk about.
Yeah, it's true. It's going to be a really cool story.
Yeah. No, we're not going to use it, but
I'm
just
not gonna-
every
I'm
time
not-
I watch it, I will remember that I cannot talk
I'm
about
not going to tell you the story, bro. That's not going to happen.
it. Are you ashamed of it?
Not a shame, but I just want to make sure that it stays like in trustworthy. Because I'm scared you will tell Louis, and if you tell Louis, it's gonna go around everywhere.
Is it, I never talked to Louis about you.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter about this story you will tell.
Is it about pedophilia?
Ooh, how's the first thing working? Oh shit, that's pretty good. Huh? Nice.
Yeah, it's interesting to see.
What do you think of the studio, man?
This is good, yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
The other studios I was in was a bit more options to set up stuff, like lighting and stuff, but I think this one actually looks better. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it looks super professional.
So you're gonna talk about how to improve speaking, you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Because since I started making reels and doing social media and trying to become a better teacher, basically, I noticed for a long time that I mumble a lot, and people often have difficulties understanding me. But not because it's online. I mean, it's super important to be articulate, right? So my girlfriend is an amazing communicator. She was a journalist. She studied literature. She was an English teacher in Afghanistan when she was 18, for example. So she's been telling me like things to do, and one of the exercises to become better articulate is to basically do tongue twisters. But first you put your mouth full of nuts with walnuts, basically. So your mouth is up completely stuffed, and then I'm just doing like 50 tongue twisters every single morning to start my day. I basically did it before I came here as well. And it's super cool because I can notice, I mean, it's like with everything, right? In the beginning you don't really notice, but then after 2 weeks you're like, oh wow, I see that subconsciously I'm becoming a better speaker. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
And would you say that's something that you're also noticing with some of your clients, that they're not very good at speaking or not very easily understandable, or maybe that in some environments they would need to speak better?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's also like a level of confidence, right? Like self-esteem, assertiveness. I had a call, for example, a week ago with a guy from Ireland. So there were two things, like his accent is quite funky. Like for me it was very hard to understand.
Yeah.
And then as well at the same time he was mumbling a lot. Like I couldn't understand half of the things he was saying. So if I cannot understand, like how are girls and women going to understand him in the club, in the coffee place? So imagine that this guy is approaching somebody and he's just mumbling at her. Like how are they ever going to build a connection?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's super important, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen that with guys that are actually that game, they have cool lifestyles, but then you see that they cannot talk, or they don't pronounce the words, or they are...
Yeah. That's actually really funny. When I was young, I was always speaking so quietly and mumbling so hard that people wouldn't understand me, and my dad would get super angry with me and like constantly tell me to speak louder and speak up.
Amazing.
And I was kind of swallowing my words. So I made this rule for myself that whenever, because it still happens to me, right? I go out and my default from childhood is just speaking more quietly and reserved. So whenever somebody says, huh, or is like, ask me to repeat what I say, it's like immediate trigger, okay, I have to speak louder. And then I force myself or focus on speaking louder.
Oh, that's super cool. I didn't know you focused on that. But it's something that I hear many people say, that in their youths, they had like some issues speaking, and then there was like some emotional pain, and from you was your father apparently, and then you completely make a shift and then you focus on consciously. But it's super interesting, right? Because when you see somebody who speaks very well, like who can project well, he pronounces well, uses like the right intonations, you can see like how much difference it makes in
Yeah.
his charisma.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, how much do you think the voice is important when meeting women?
Well, there are all these scientific explanations that say that nonverbal communication is like 90% or whatever of your communication.
Yeah.
I think it's not necessarily true, but how engaging you like. I think the voice is like a hack of how engaging you are, because you can stimulate the other person with your body language. You can tell funny stories or entertaining stories, or
Yeah.
just be an entertainer. But if you have a great voice, it's a hack, because the person is almost forced to listen. And we can see it, I think, on the social media stuff here. You post a video or you see videos. What are the videos that you watch most easily? Are the videos where people have a super engaging voice.
Exactly. Charisma.
Yeah.
So interesting. Because you said something to me a few days ago. The guy went viral like in a very fast period of time. And then you just mentioned charisma. And I was just thinking like, okay, who are all the guys that are popular on social media? It's always the same charisma. So I was just making the click today like, oh, maybe I should just focus on becoming more charismatic on the camera. More authentic and more charismatic. And I think it's the same in game, no?
Yeah, I've been trying that for a year. Be more authentic, be more myself.
Oh, yeah?
But there's like a fine line, because on social media, I think especially on Instagram, it's
Yeah.
also about the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right? People stop scrolling because something hooks their attention. I think a lot of it is how nice is the sound and how nice is the image, how
Yeah, true.
visually appealing. That's why more attractive people tend to go viral more easily.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense, just subconscious, right?
Yeah.
How much do you think, how important is having a good social media when you're meeting women? Let's say you can first do like dating apps, or if you're meeting women in real life and then you close them on social, like on Instagram, for example. Like, how important is to have a good Instagram account, in your opinion?
I think having a good Instagram account is not a must, but it's super helpful. It's like a hack, because when you meet somebody in real life, especially when it's a short interaction, they only get a snippet into who you are. Now, when the interaction is longer, they kind of get an idea of who you are, what you're about, what you believe in,
Yeah.
how it's to be around you, how it feels to be around you. But when it's a short interaction, then all they have is the snippet. And when you have a great Instagram, it can help build this idea of who you are and make people more interested in seeing you again. And the flip side is also true. I think if somebody has a bad Instagram, or an Instagram that is not aligned with who they are in real life, then it's going to work against you. If you exchange Instagram, the girl has an impression of you, and then she looks at your Instagram and there's some incongruence. And what women do is, when they cannot really understand that, what women do when there's an incongruence is basically they don't really fully understand it, but they feel like something is off. And when it feels like something is off, then it's just a no. It's the easiest output.
Yeah, true. Especially in the beginning when you just met somebody, it's faster. It's very easy to say like, oh no, I'm gonna go for the next option, instead of, okay, I see something that I don't like, but maybe after that something better will come.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And also, I think if you're a man and you have a busy lifestyle and you're not leveraging social media, Instagram, but also dating apps to a certain extent, in order to meet women, it's kind of like a wasted opportunity or a wasted time, because you're already sitting around all day working. So why not open your messages 2 or 3 times a day, respond to some messages, swipe for 3 minutes on a dating app. It's so much easier in today's day and age, and especially if you're into young women, because they're all on the dating apps, right? No, I think it's true. Like, so many of my clients are like, yeah, I want to date girls that are in their like 22 to 28. I think that's the most frequent range, and everyone in that age range is on dating apps, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the only way, but I think it's a great way to meet girls nowadays.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
What do you think about? Let's just flip the same question, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What do you think about how important would you say is social media and dating apps for dating in today's day and age?
Yeah, I mean, with the dating apps thing, I disagree, but it's also a personal preference.
No, let's start again, because you're gonna use it for reels now.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
No, I just mean, you can disagree, but then you will kind of have to have my version of it as well, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
the
yeah.
viewer doesn't know if you just use a snippet.
Yeah, but we can also just cut it. Huh?
Okay.
So
okay.
it's,
Yeah. Should I ask a question again?
No, it's fine, it's fine. This is good. I think even for long form this could be amazing because it's just human nature.
Yeah.
That we're just talking. No, but with the dating apps, I kind of disagree with it's a person preference because I never really liked it. Because what I noticed when I was doing it, first of all, I don't like to spend a lot of time on the phone. And then on another aspect, I was losing so much time with it. Because I remember I would go scrolling and would make my mind go crazy sometimes. Like I'm just like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling like in a, yeah, I don't know, like very strange. It was not really making me very happy. And at the same time I would go on dates with girls that I really didn't like so much. Not that I didn't like them, but when I saw them on the phone, on the app, I was like, oh wow, she's amazing, she looks amazing, she likes this. And then I meet her in real life and I was just disappointed. But oftentimes I would meet them and just, okay, yeah, we have a date now, maybe let's have sex, let's have some fun. But then afterwards I would never be satisfied. So I think that was like kind of my thing. So that's why I don't really like dating apps, but with the social media I agree completely. Like it's very dumb to not give it any attention because it can be so helpful. Like let's say you have, you close a girl that you just met for like a few minutes, you take her to her Instagram account, she adds you, and then you have like a lot of cool pictures that you're vibing with your friends, having a cool lifestyle. I mean, who doesn't want to spend more time with you then? Especially like the life that we're living, right? We're always traveling, we're here, we're there. And then this random girl I just met in the coffee place is adding you and she's like, fuck, this guy has a cool lifestyle. Of course she wants to be part of that. But it's also interesting that I see so many guys, they don't invest the time into to master it. Like you look at their Instagram account, you just think like, man, like I had a guy literally, man, it was so crazy. He booked a call and I saw his picture on Facebook and I thought it was 55 or something. Like, and
Yeah.
then he was younger than me, bro. He was 34. I was like, bro, I thought you were gonna be super old, man. Like, come on, guy, come on, make some effort. It's so important. Like, also for business, for whatever.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
And then people, I mean, of course, and at that time he was, oh yeah, I just make it more challenging, this and that. But I remember when I was younger, I
He was
was
saying, I'm just making it more challenging on myself.
yeah, like I just want to make it more challenging. But it's just this dumb excuse.
Yeah, that's
But I
the
remember
dumbest excuse.
when I was younger, I was doing the same sometimes, just because you're lazy or
Yeah.
or you don't believe it, or you just don't want to invest the time in a photo shoot or something, because a photo shoot would help you completely, right? Do one really cool photo shoot, put some
Yeah.
nice clothes on, in a nice environment, and then yeah, so that's how I think about it. Similar than you know, just the smart way to do it. Part of the funnel, basically.
What would you say are the three biggest mistakes, or whatever many biggest mistakes that you see guys make with their Instagram in the context of dating?
I think there's not
I don't
enough.
know if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, sure,
It's
sure. I
interesting.
think one of the things is, the first of all is not enough vibes. Like many guys, they just take pictures of themselves standing on a mountain in South Africa or whatever, they do something cool, like no vibes.
Mhm.
Like I think this is something that I learned from a friend we have in common. He would always say, vibes guys, vibes, vibes. So a picture with some friends, a picture with some girls. That is amazing. And also the second one I would say is the quality of the pictures. Like, come on, like take a nice picture and use a good camera, use a good iPhone, doesn't matter. Makes a complete difference. I mean, and then the third one I would say, yeah, just make a story now and then. Like you meet a girl, let's say you meet her today, and then it was maybe a short conversation, so she will check your Instagram and then maybe kind of forget of you. But if you post like a story now and then, she will always get reminded, right? It's like the follow-up system. So this is also something I often don't see with guys doing. Like just post a story here and there. It doesn't have to be every day, but just here, oh, I'm on a flight, I'm drinking coffee, whatever. I think you're really good at these things. I mean, I haven't seen you for a long
Thank
time,
you.
but it's like I've seen you a lot, but I haven't seen you in real life. So I know where
Yeah.
you've been. I know you're in Mexico. I know you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I have all the information. I think it's funny sometimes. I met this girl in Barcelona once, and we had an amazing evening. And I didn't see her for 5 years. And then I saw her again in the subway by coincidence. But I actually saw her every single day on Instagram. So I was like, wow, amazing. It feels like I know you super well. In fact, I didn't see her for 5 years. So.
Yeah.
What do you think are the three biggest mistakes men make on Instagram and social media, or even on dating apps?
think the biggest mistake I see guys make is, apart from not using it at all, I think the biggest mistake is when you don't use social media at all,
Yeah.
not understanding the power it has, especially today in the dating market. The second biggest mistake is guys just being try hard. I would say this when you feel like they're just trying to put up a persona.
Yeah.
Everything is a bit too posed. It's not really about the vibes and more about them. You know,
Yeah.
they try to look good, try to
Yeah.
like show that they have money, these kind of things. So
Yeah.
what I notice is if instead of taking like these super professional photos in a photo shoot setting, like the worst thing you can do is like have a Ferrari and girls around you, right? If instead of that you just take these disposable cameras and shoot some pictures with that and just throw it in, just to create that feeling of vibes, that's super powerful. And the third thing I would say that I've noticed is that less is more, right? So my Instagram right now, my private Instagram, is literally just one carousel that shows an array of my lifestyle and a few story highlights. So the girl can see some current stuff and can see my lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's a carousel showing a couple pictures, kind of showing that I understand aesthetics, that I understand that I have a cool life, that I do cool activities.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, this guy has the need to show off his life all the time.
Mhm.
And I feel like that is super easy to replicate. So rather than having to constantly think about what to put on social media, you can just do it once and then do it again and again whenever something comes up that feels worthy of posting.
Yeah, exactly.
I also like I think it's true, posting regular stories. It's something I don't think about that much because I
Just seeding,
intuitively
It's
do
just
it,
like
right?
seeding, you know, seeding. Hey, I'm here.
Like nurturing.
I'm here.
It's
Yeah.
like nurturing,
And
yeah.
people just see you, and then all of a sudden they're like,
Yeah.
I know these guys so well. it's
Yeah, for
crazy.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super funny. It's funny that it works, you know. And also
Yeah.
like in sales, it's amazing. And just like being once in a while, like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. Don't forget about me. But once you're ready, I'm here. Huh? You know?
Yeah.
Funny.
Before I created this, before I started doing dating content, my Instagram was so powerful. It's so crazy. Every girl I exchanged Instagram with was always like
Amazing.
need to
Yeah, I remember you were really good at it.
And I didn't post much, right? I posted maybe 4 times a year or something, and I posted
Interesting.
stories, but I only posted
Yeah,
pictures like 4 times a year maybe.
yeah, yeah.
And then
man,
even
you-
when I started doing fitness content, it's like the fitness content was interesting because I was able to post a lot of braggy content, you know, like six-pack stuff.
Yeah,
But it's not to brag, it's because I'm a fitness coach.
yeah.
And I feel like
okay,
it
okay.
worked crazy well as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
interesting.
very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
that's
was gonna
fascinating.
say something, you said something interesting with this. You said that you talked to this guy who had his profile picture was his only picture, and on the profile picture he looked like a 50-year-old man, even though in real life he was just in his early 30s.
Mhm.
And when you challenged him on it, he basically said that, yeah, I like to make it a bit more challenging. And I thought that was very interesting. I feel like a lot of guys, like I think dating, the better you understand it, is all a little bit like sales. It's all about removing as much friction as you can, right?
Exactly.
Making it as easy on yourself as possible. Spending time in places where you can meet the type of women you want, being the type of person that these women would like to have in their life, and just removing the friction.
Yeah, exactly.
And many guys do the opposite. They're like, no, but I like to wear these weird shirts, or
Yeah.
I like to post these weird pictures on my social media, or I like to not use social media at all. So rather than doing the right thing and investing, oftentimes it's really just about investing half a day in dressing better, taking some good pictures, and it can completely change your life when it comes to dating. But guys have so much resistance to just investing that time, even though it can pay out 100-fold later on. I think it's so crazy.
It's
Yeah.
super fascinating. I completely agree. I think it's also because dating is like a very, it's a very intimate thing, right? So if I give that comment in a moment, if there's not enough awareness from his point of view, he's
Yeah.
gonna get defensive, and that's why he gave that comment, obviously, because he knows deep down it could be way better.
Yeah.
But in that moment, we're just like two men talking to each other, and you're competing in a way, because in the end, I really believe in natural selection. He has an ego thing happening because there's not enough awareness. So I think the trick probably is just to get enough awareness. And these are the moments that, you know, like when you cannot sleep at night and you're like looking at the ceiling and you're just thinking about life, and then sometimes you have like these insights, right? Like, oh fuck man, this is actually something that I like to do or that I forget about. like these very deep moments of awareness I really like. And I think this is the challenge for us as dating coaches to bring it to the people that we want to help. Like, hey man, listen, like this is important. Like this is gonna change your dating life. If you're gonna change that picture, or your fashion, or your communication skills, whatever, like it's gonna change everything instantly. Like, come on, as you say, like make it easy for yourself, man. It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
Would you say that having a big ego is something that is holding a lot of people back, or what role would you say, or what role do you think does the ego play in progress?
It's an amazing question, huh? I think it really depends how you. The ego is a tool. It has a function, so it helps us survive. And I think it depends how you use it. Like if you use it in your benefit, like let's say you're having this story about your friend yesterday that you said he's super delusionally confident because everything that happens is in his favor. Like he meets a girl in a coffee place and he gets like kind of rejected. He's just like, no, this is the way it's supposed to be. So this delusional confidence, of course, is super helpful in most situations. But then also ego can also be in a way that you get very defensive. And let's say you want to help me, right, with something. I'm building this business, I'm scaling it now, and you would say, Steph, I think this is something you're doing wrong. And I would, no, leave me alone, it's not true, no, I think it's this way. But I have no idea maybe. So my ego can work in a not very beneficial way for myself. So I think it's a tool that we have to use in the right direction. Use it in your benefit, but also stay very humble and open-minded for opinions from the outside. I always like a little bit playing. I like the ego a lot, and I think it comes again to the awareness of knowing what is good for you and knowing what is important for the next level in your life. If you're into growth, what would you say? I think it's a really good question, but super important.
Yeah, I also think that's a really interesting question. I also think the ego is a super important aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I got into meditation when I was a bit younger and constantly tried to strip away the ego and not validate, especially because for me, when I was in my early 20s, I had a massive ego, and I noticed that a lot of the time it was holding me back in life because I wasn't really willing to challenge things. I wasn't really willing to change as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like other people should just respect me for everything that I've already done in the past, right?
Okay.
And now when I work with people that have a big ego, it's oftentimes about offering them a different perspective on things in a way where they can see that this perspective is beneficial for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then helping them in a way go out of or step out of their ego to actually level up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then having the ego at the same time as a tool, as you said, I think is super powerful.
Yeah, 100%. It's very fascinating. I think that is actually the main job for us as dating coaches, to help people get aware of, okay, you have a dating life that you're not satisfied with right now. You want to date more beautiful women, or you just want to date women in general. But to help them, oftentimes they're so close-minded, right? They're like, yeah, I'm fine. But you know deep down, they're not fine.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna go home and they're gonna jerk off or whatever, and they think something magical will fall out of the sky in their arms, but it's not like that. If you don't proactively try to learn skills or improve yourself, like nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Especially if you're 35 right now and you're thinking like, oh, I have all my life, but bro, like you don't have your whole life. Like you're aging very fast and your testosterone gonna be lower, most of your friends are gonna get married, and all of a sudden you'll be 45 by yourself or dating somebody you don't like, and then you're basically fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, and people don't see how life progresses in these stages, right? Where you like basically have this young stage where you can just be crazy and have one night stands and all of that.
Yeah.
And that ends at some point. You can
Does it?
still do it, but it's not the same. It's not
Okay.
like when you're in your early 20s and you have all of your friends and you're just all going crazy,
Yeah.
right? And then you go into that phase where you're like in the midlife, kind of like where we're at now, like 30s, maybe 40s, early 40s, where you have all the options, but also when you're going towards the end of your 40s, I think life changes a lot. You have to take care of your parents, you have a lot more responsibilities in your life. Your friends are all married and have kids. It's just not the same anymore. So yeah, I do think that our time
Yeah. And not
is
only
very
that,
limited and people overestimate it.
yeah, true. And not only that, to add to that is, like the older that people are, when they get this point of like, okay, shit, I call it like an emotional fuck you moment. Like they all of a sudden they have the awareness like, okay, I want to do something about my dating life. I'm going to get a guidance and a mentorship or help or something. But the older people become, the harder it is to change all those psychological patterns, basically.
Yeah.
Like if you wanna, let's say you're 42 and you wanna start getting confidence and start approaching women. I mean, it's gonna be way harder when you start doing it when you're 25. It's just gonna, it works as well. Huh? I mean, I have a long-term client who is 53 right now. Amazing guy, super dedicated. But I just see like he has to put way more effort in than somebody who is 35.
Yeah.
So I always tell guys that you have no idea. Like, please start now. Like, start now. This is. I also believe that dating is so important because this is one of the things why we're here, right? Like we want to reproduce. This is something that we think about often. When you wake up in the morning, we are hard, you know. We go to sleep.
Are you?
Most of the time I am. Luckily, now. So yeah, interesting.
I had one more thought on, well, it kind of goes hand in hand with what you just said there. Do you know these big 5 personality traits from psychological tests, like assertiveness, openness, conscientiousness? I don't even remember what the other ones are.
Mm-hmm.
Assertiveness is a super important character trait, also when it comes to dating, business, etc.
100%.
Right? And my assertiveness level, for example, is not very high, naturally.
You think so?
Yeah, I've done these tests, it's very
Oh,
interesting.
I wouldn't say that.
Thank you, because you know me from a dating context, I think, but I think in my normal life I have relatively low assertiveness levels.
Okay.
And I've noticed a pattern because I had all of my clients always do these big 5 personality tests,
Mm-hmm.
and clients that are high in assertiveness usually go one of 2 ways. Either they can have an amazing dating life and can progress to insane heights in their life,
Mm-hmm.
or not at all and they're just stuck forever. And the defining factor is how high they are in openness. Because there's this very interesting correlation when you're super high in assertiveness,
Mm-hmm.
but very low in openness. That basically means that you believe that what you're doing is right, because you're not really open to new ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and you're also challenging everybody that's telling you something else, right? Because your assertiveness is really high, you're trying to convince them, and you're very bought in your own beliefs. And these are the people that have the craziest ego usually around, like ego, right? But it's just character traits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're very open at the same time and very assertive, then you can just learn new stuff and apply it and go very
Yeah.
far with it. Yeah.
Nice, that's an interesting point.
Yeah. Probably too high level for most people, but it's super interesting.
Also for me though, by the way. No, I'm kidding. No, but I think, I mean, we often think that these things are too high level, but I think it's something that people crave because it gives a deep understanding of who they are as people and also what women want. Like, what I see is the most challenging part for most men, and maybe you can also say something about it, because most men, they don't really understand how women are. Like when I started this journey as well, I don't know, like 16, 17 years ago, I would think that women are like men, right? We talk the same, we do this, we do that, and we always complain about them. But they're so different, man. They have a completely different psychology. And the more that I gained, the more that I understood it, like how women are so different. And I love it. But many men, they hate it and they get annoyed by it. They would say, oh, all women are like this, all women are like this, all women are like this, blah, blah, blah. And they don't understand how to seduce women because they're so different, right? What I think is amazing. But yeah, can you say something about the difference or the female-male dynamics and how to understand how to communicate to women and also how to communicate back when they communicate to you in a relationship or when you're just meeting them? Like, tell me something about seduction.
That is a super broad topic.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck, you just said something interesting that I wanted to say something about, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's maybe I should reframe my question a bit better. Give me a second.
Yeah, I was thinking of something on the topic of what you just said.
So for example,
Yeah.
I
I think I remember.
tell me.
One,
I'll keep it.
I think a super interesting thing that I did when I was younger, and that many men do, is that we think that women are very similar in their psychology as men.
Yeah.
And us men, we're only, I mean, let's say mainly driven by looks. right? And so there's this whole manosphere thing where they're like, oh, women are all about looks, status, money. That's all they care about. And that's led in a way to this new phenomenon, for example, of this looks maxing stuff, where guys are like, hey, all that matters is my looks, right? I need to get my looks on point.
Yeah.
Because we think that women are like us, and so they will only chase looks. And I find it super fascinating because it shows this core misunderstanding in the difference in the psychology between men and women. Yeah, that's the thought that I just had.
Yeah, this is an example. I was actually thinking about shit testing, for example. And I read something before I came here, and the guy was explaining that the whole feminist movement in the world is actually basically one big shit test towards men. Because I've met many women as well. They men. And I mean, you know how to pass shit tests, right? You just make fun of them or you make a joke, and then of course their frame falls away instantly. So I think that's super interesting.
Or you just ignore it, just like with the feminist movement.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like just leave us alone. Change your behavior, just walk away. But something else, like I think it's also very interesting. Like most of and I think you're also really good at this. And the guys that are the best in the world that I met, I'm thinking about like 2-3 people right now, also really good at this. They notice when girls like them. It's just like in these small things, right? And the harder the girl, the different it is that you will notice that she likes you. And an example, I was walking with a client I was coaching, and he was already very, very advanced. This was a few weeks ago. We walk on the street, and he approaches this beautiful girl. They're talking a little bit, just a normal conversation. They exchange Instagram accounts, and then before he leaves, she had like a jacket with a t-shirt on it, and she would open her jacket, so to show off basically, right? And then we say goodbye and we walk away. And I ask him, have you noticed what happened in the last 10 seconds before we left? And he's like, no, what happened? She opened her jacket. Yeah, but that's just coincidence, right? I said, no, it's not coincidence. Like, it's on purpose, like 100%. Like, I know from experience. And he was trying to defend it, like, no, man, it's just coincidence, man. She doesn't really like me. It's just coincidence. She was probably warm or something. Like, bro, trust me, like, this is on purpose. So, what do you think about that? Because the hardest women and the most intelligent one are always very subtle in showing that they like you.
Yeah.
They will not explicitly say it. So what are things that you noticed in women that they do that they really, really like you or your clients?
That is a very interesting question. I think there are 3 levels to this. I think the lowest level is when somebody gives you these very obvious signs. You're like, okay, this woman is looking at you like you're God. And yeah, that happens occasionally, especially when you're a very attractive man. It's going to happen to you frequently, but it's usually not the women that you want to have in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Do this.
It's good that you had that.
Then I would say the second level is the only thing, and that's pretty much really the only thing I care about these days, is she staying there when I talk to her, and how far is she from me? Is she comfortable with being close to me? Is she comfortable to be around me?
Mm-hmm.
And if she's comfortable to be around me, is she comfortable with standing close to me? And if that's the case, that's usually all I go by. Sure, there are a million smaller signs you can go by, but they can also be very misleading, right? I feel like a lot of the time men look for signs in women, and when they don't get these signs, and they think, oh, the girl doesn't like me, she's not giving me the attention, she's not giving me the big eyes or whatever, so they walk away, they don't follow up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
While actually the girl loved them and just didn't really know how to behave around them, or didn't want to seem too eager, so she didn't give them the signs. So I think relying only on signs can be very misguided. And then I think there's a third level. This is this level when you've done this forever. Your subconscious mind, like, you can see the matrix, and sometimes you see it consciously, but your subconscious pretty much sees it all the time. Like, you've probably had this as well, where you go into a group and within like 5 seconds you know which one of the girls has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like insane, because if somebody asks you what your what your reasoning is, you can say this, but you don't really know, right? You're like, it's still made up, and it's like 98% accurate or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this experience.
Yeah.
You just feel it in your bones.
very interesting.
Fascinating, right? The more you learn skills, the deeper you go, and the more you just play on intuition.
Mm.
And I think also with this thing is often like, you know, like this feeling that you approach the same girl with your body and you're just talking to each other and she's kind of flirting with the two of them, and then you kind of know like, okay, she likes you or the other guy more,
Yeah.
and then oftentimes the other guy doesn't really know because he's not on the same level as you, and he just doesn't see it, and you just know for sure, and you cannot really say why or this or that, but then for example, the guy would say like, hey, yeah, but she was looking at you more, but you just know in that particular case with her, it's her strategy to show the other guy that she likes him, even though sometimes it can be the opposite. So that's also the same, like just intuition, because you've been in that situation so many times, and so many times you're wrong as well. You bumped your head against the wall that you just know, and I think that's so fascinating. Yeah, I think it's amazing. But what I think is super cool is the more beautiful and the hotter the girl you're kind of chasing or want to attract, the more interesting the signs become. And I also use your thing, like if the girl is with you, she likes you, basically.
Yeah.
Most of the guys, you just walk out by themselves and always think like, why did you run out? Oh, yeah, because she was not giving me anything. It's like, yeah, but she's there. Enough. Funny.
I think there's also this element of self-fulfilling prophecy. Right? If you just believe that every girl likes you, in a way,
This is the ego again, right?
It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Yeah, but it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Just by you believing that every girl likes it, you will start interpreting everything as if the girl did it to like you. So you will think, oh, she talks to my friend more because that's her strategy.
Yeah.
To not show too eager.
Yeah.
To not seem too eager. At the same time, if you have this idea that no girl likes you,
Mhm.
you're going to see all of the signs of why the girl doesn't like you, or
Yeah.
why it wasn't worth continuing, or why she was laughing at you rather than with you, like all these
Yeah.
things. It's very interesting. Our mind always sees what it wants to see.
True.
And you can kind of program it to a certain extent.
Yeah, exactly. I think that I like the winner effect, for example. It's very important to have some success in your journey. Like, let's say you started a journey and then, oh, no. Oh yeah, thanks. So when you start this journey and then, let's say you only get rejected, right, it's super fucked up. So it's very important to get those wins. And I remember in my journey, like the first night that I ever watched a video online of how to become better with social skills, I pulled basically a girl to the toilet. I was super drunk, but I did it, and for me that was like an amazing thing to happen. But it's true what you say. But I also think like if you see every girl that you interact with and you tell yourself like, oh yeah, I love her, or she loves me, it can also work counterproductive, because then you'll start thinking like, yeah, but why is she not texting back? Because the reality is not in synchronicity with what you think.
I would disagree on that point, because there can be 1,000,000 reasons why she's not texting back other than her loving you. She might be completely
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
My last girlfriend I had, I matched her on a dating app, and we went on a date, we hooked up, we started dating, eventually became a couple. And at one point we exchanged Instagram, which we did quite late, a couple months, I think 2 or 3 months after I met her. And we realized that we exchanged messages before. And
Oh,
the
wow.
exchange messages was me
Funny.
texting her and her not responding.
Wow.
And I could remember the moment when that happened, and she could remember it as well. And that was me sitting outside a restaurant with a friend, and she walked by, and I started talking to her while she walked past.
Wow.
I stopped her, started talking to her.
Yeah.
And I was really into her, and I thought she wasn't into me because she didn't respond to my message. She was actually just dating somebody at that point in time, and it wasn't very serious. That's why she gave me her number or her
Yeah.
contact. But later at home, she was like, I cannot respond to this guy, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, this girl doesn't like me, but in reality, there were like these external circumstances that had
Yeah.
nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, every girl does like me.
Yeah.
Stop saying anything.
Wow, you're a
Shut the
superstar.
fuck up.
Such a womanizer. Teach me all your skills. But it's true often.
It's only based on looks and genetics.
Looks maxing, right?
Looks maxing, yeah. Actually, are you doing bone smashing?
Yeah, I did it, yeah. You did it with me before.
Yeah.
Funny.
Steph, serious question.
Tell me everything.
What do you think of bone smashing? Okay, let's talk about the serious topic.
I want to add something to I wanted to say something about it. I forgot again. No, it's interesting that I like that you said that you met her and then there were like external circumstances happening, because oftentimes somebody gets rejected and they start getting into their head and they take it like very personal. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. But I always keep saying the same thing, like, bro, you have no idea, man. Maybe your dog passed away, maybe your mom passed away, maybe she has a relationship, maybe there's like an ex-boyfriend. But you notice, right? So you tell them, but they don't believe it logically. Like emotionally, they're too connected to like a weird reframing that they have, like, oh, I'm not good enough for this girl. Like some random 22-year-old that just met in a bar and talked for 1 hour, like, and she's not responding, oh, I'm not good enough for her.
Yeah.
It's like insane, you know?
I think it's especially interesting when you look at guys that are successful and
Successful?
have a good dating life. Guys that pretty much have it all, but they didn't have it when they were young. A lot of the time what happens is that they still approach dating from the mindset of somebody that's not good with women. So they're constantly thinking about whether the girl likes them, they're constantly thinking about like micromanaging what they do, what they say, rather than approaching it from the perspective of somebody that's successful and attractive and successful with women, right?
Yeah, of course.
And it's just a difference in mindset that's completely fucking you over, because you're essentially constantly trying to make things work and women feel that shit and
exactly.
don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you think it goes from, okay, I'm still having this mindset that's not helping me, towards like, okay, my mindset is shifting and this is completely changing my dating life now? Because we all know how that vibe that you talk about now, how it can be helpful and how it will change your game as well in meeting women. So is there like a pivotal point, like you can do something to change it, or just rewire your brain, or hypnosis, or just having a lot of success, or what would you say?
I think it's getting better at this whole dating thing. All comes down to having a few very important but very few paradigm shifts. And as long as you don't have them, as long as you don't have these realizations of what you need to change and how you need to change it, or how you can change it, nothing's going to change for you. That's why you see so many people just making the same mistakes over and over again, like essentially banging their head against the wall because they don't have that shift in paradigm. So I don't think it's gradual. It's not like this thing where you do more and more and you're going to get better. Essentially, it's not like you're for sure going to get better just by doing more. It's actually the other way around. I think we've seen so many people that just kept banging their head against the wall for years without any change, because they never had the courage essentially to get somebody else to take a look at what they're doing and to give them feedback. And I don't say this to just promote coaching, but for me, right, I've spent so much money on coaching over the years on all parts of my life, because I know that either it helps me accelerate things, or it's actually the thing that enables me to get better in the first place. Because if I don't understand what I need to change and how to change it, I can keep doing what I'm doing essentially forever without seeing a change in my life. And I think that's what most people do when it comes to dating. They're making the same mistake literally for years. And we see this also with relationships, right, where people get into a relationship, the relationship doesn't work out, they end it for whatever reason, and then within oftentimes weeks, they're in a new relationship where almost anybody on the outside can tell right away that it is going to end the same way, because it has the same flaws as the first one.
Yeah.
And because they're not able or willing to see it, they cannot change.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like history is not the same, but it rhymes. But I also see that, yeah. I think it's super interesting because I understand also like it's a big step to decide to take coaching in anything in life, even fitness coaching or whatever, because we always think we're going to do it better by ourselves. But once you understand and you did it one time, you will see like how beneficial that is. That's what I think you told me as well, like today. You had a client of yours, he never did coaching before, he did coaching with you, and all of a sudden he saw the value of coaching, then all of a sudden he was hiring coaches for everything in his life. Because it's insane, right? I also work with coaches and I sometimes feel like, wow, only the accountability aspect is so genius. Like, it's just following up with you. Like, okay, we said we're gonna do this and changes, like after like 1 week or 2 weeks, like, okay, what happened there? Just talking to somebody like that is incredible. Like somebody just gives you really their time. So yeah, coaching is incredible. It's not for everybody, especially dating. I think it's always going to be a little bit niche, even though I think towards the future it's going to become something more mainstream. But yeah.
Yeah, I think most people are scared to get coached because they're worried about they're not worried that you don't know what you're doing, they're worried that they're not able to implement it and do what they have to do and make the stuff happen that you share with them and that you teach them.
Yeah.
And I think that is where the value of a great coach comes in. If you just understand this situation that the client is in and you're able to help him do the things that he's worried he's not able to do himself.
Yeah.
And you're able to teach it to him in a way where he can also do it without you, because I think especially in dating there's oftentimes this thing where people like don't know really what to say, and then when you tell them what to say, yeah, sure, they can say it because they can repeat things like a parrot, but the goal is to be able to teach people to do these things by themselves, and 100%. I feel like many coaches are not able to do that in every field, not just in dating. In business, for example, it's so bad how many people have no fucking idea what they're doing, but they're still coaching.
Yeah. And
I think in dating coaching, it's a bit more obvious when somebody doesn't know what they're doing, because the business thing is so easy to fake. Making money online.
Yeah.
It's so easy to fake, whereas the dating thing, most men that try to fake it is super obvious to anybody with a brain, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of sad, yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It really triggers me when I see these people online that are trying to pretend like they know what the fuck they're talking about, and you know that they're just scammers.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always going to be part of society that people are trying to find a way to sneak in or something. It also triggers me because in the end, we took the time, we took years to become masters at this, basically. Not because to brag, but just because we put so much work in, right? We did so many approaches, we invested in coaching. And then you see like another guy who's really good in business and he's teaching also the same thing, and things that are incorrect, right? Because in the end also you want to teach people to become better in dating. Because I see so many guys suffering, and for me sometimes, I mean, it's like, come on guys, it's like the road to become good in dating is so easy. Like you do this, and this, and then you can become better. You have somebody look at your blind spots, you become better, and then all of a sudden you're going to meet an amazing girlfriend, and that's it. But yeah, you gotta do the right things, right? And I think that's an important thing, like you have to do the right things. So
there's really like 5 things that men struggle with, right? And I think it's so interesting. My brother is an athlete, right? He coaches athletes in skydiving, and he's a multiple world champion, so he's coaching at the highest level.
Amazing.
But the interesting thing is that a lot of the clients that he starts working with, I think the vast majority of them, the problem is that they got a lot of bad coaching, and so rather than being able to just teach them what they have to do, he has to unlearn them all of the bad habits and things that they learned from other coaches that are actually holding them back. So they learn things from somebody that in their eyes had authority, and it became second nature. But these things are actually holding them back, and I think in dating the same thing happens in society. Maybe we don't learn from a coach, maybe we see it in some YouTube video, but a lot of the time we just pick up things along the way. We think that that's how we have to do it, and then it becomes second nature, and we don't question it anymore. And then that just becomes part of us.
Yeah.
And being made aware of these things and learning to unlearn these bad habits and these things that we do that basically fuck us over is such a large part of getting better at this communication thing.
I think it's even maybe the biggest part. All these little habits, that are not helping you.
Yeah.
Like overthinking when to text, for example. I hear like the weirdest things. I have guys I've seen guys that wait 3 days to text girls. Yeah. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
I always thought that was a joke actually when I saw this in TV shows.
Crazy though.
Yeah, it was in How I Met Your Mother, right? And I thought it was a joke, but I really heard people talk about it. Yeah, in How I Met Your Mother there was this rule that you can only text after 3 days. That's simple. And I hear people say this, and I think it's actually just from the show. People made that shit up.
Wow.
And it became a thing, and men really think that's the best way to approach it. I got a number from the girl, Like, yeah, did you text her? I don't know, I have to wait 3 days. Bro, you're fucking retarded, right? What the fuck are you doing?
Insane.
It is so interesting.
I think it's
I think especially today where most girls 3 days later, especially if you meet her at a nightclub 3 days later, she doesn't know who the fuck that was, right?
50 guys already approached her. She's been swiping like so many guys, getting so many DMs. That's what I'm saying. Like if you want her to remember you, text her back fast, man, and do something creative. Send a voice note, send a video, whatever. But I think it's funny. Yeah, unlearning is the, especially like in the psychology aspect as well. Like all this rewiring, right? Like because now I see guys learning how to meet women when they're like 18, 17. I'm like, man, good job, man. Because if you do it now for the rest of your life, you're gonna get it. And if you get it, you just get it, and you just build on that basically. Because one point, the compound effect will also be part of it, and then you just become super good at it. Like, did you see a change because you also started learning this quite early, being very social, and being basically like a womanizer. But did you see like a change when, and also even now that you're aging a little bit, you're getting older, more mature, and now you're 39. Do you see it getting better just because you're getting more mature and you're just understanding the game better and better and better?
I think for sure when you start at an early age you will see a natural progression just because you become physically more attractive, you become financially usually more successful, so your resources in a way improve. And when you look better, it's easier to get attention. When you have more money, you just have more things you can do. You have easier access to things where activities where you can meet women, or locations where you can meet women. So, to a certain extent, getting older helps. But there's also a threshold where, I mean, just like a natural peak, where for most people it gets worse, especially when you're not used to this whole social thing, where it just gets a lot harder to be social. Where it feels a lot more try hard or unnatural to go on a date with a girl. You're really not that used to communicating with people anymore outside of family, friends, and work.
Yeah.
So I do think learning that stuff as early as possible and setting yourself up long term is an amazing thing to do.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. When there's a lot of people that think about their life in terms of these different things that they need to do. They need to master dating, they need to master finances, they need to master health and fitness. And realistically, we cannot do all of them properly at the same time, especially if you're studying something that requires a lot of time or you work a job that just requires more than the usual 30, 40 hours. But you're working, let's say you work 60 hours a week. What would you say should people prioritize? Should they prioritize making money, building their career, or building a business over learning dating? Because they can still learn dating later, or do you think they should find a way to learn dating first, or should they try to, I don't know, kind of balance it all?
I think it depends on the person first of all, because not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur, right? But what I always say, like, because I meet a lot of guys, and some of them they say like, listen, stuff, I want to work together. But I actually wrote a post about this in my community. They want to work with me, but they're like, oh, I don't have the finance. I always say like, okay, first thing in life is get your fucking finances in order. Like, it's so fucking important. Like, if you don't have that in order, like, how are you gonna live life? Especially also to attract beautiful women, right? Like, oh, I cannot take you to a super nice restaurant, or I cannot travel, or whatever. So get your finances in order, and everything becomes easier. You can get a coach for dating, you can get a coach for your food planning, for the gym, whatever. But I think in general, like, there's the things that you tell me now, or there's like one skill that is overlapping a little bit everywhere. There's communication skills. So let's say there's a guy who's building his business, but he also wants to work on his dating life. I always say like, yeah, just do one approach a day. Like, go for a walk. Everybody goes for a walk, right? You go to the supermarket, you go for a coffee, and just do one approach a day, that's it. Your social skills will improve, you're going to meet nice people, and it's going to help your business as well, because you're going to be better at sales, you're going to understand all these little things, where the social cues, and so on. So yeah, it depends on the person, right? Everybody's a little bit different. But the way I did it is not the way I recommend people doing it, because I was obsessed with women when I got into this, and I just spent all my time just going out and traveling and having fun and getting invited here and there, and then I only got into business until I was 30. So I wouldn't do that. I would advise you to yeah, get the money first. Get the money first, and then practice your social skills. And yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm getting super tired right now. Like, I want to say things, but I'm just like this.
What do you think of the whole Jeffrey Epstein situation?
I think it's super funny. I'm thinking he fixed the money thing first, and then he went for the girls. What do you think?
I think this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing is actually quite interesting because what we're seeing is basically a ton of ultra wealthy and ultra powerful people paying somebody else for sex. And I haven't looked into this in too much detail, but what you can see from the stuff that's going viral is essentially how bad most men are at meeting and dating women. I mean, it goes really to the point where with this Jeffrey Epstein thing, it's billionaires paying Jeffrey Epstein, kind of a middleman, to get them prostitutes from other countries, which is insane, right? If you think about it, these guys technically should have mastered everything. They mastered their finances, they mastered their whole life, but they didn't master dating. They didn't even master their communication skills, obviously, when you look at how they type in the emails, but they for sure didn't master dating. And then they have to pay somebody to procure them prostitutes,
Yeah.
which is so sad to me. Right? You have all these resources, but you didn't get to the point where you mastered the dating skills. It's crazy.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting, I got an insight here. I think most men, and this is actually my frustration as well,
Yeah.
most men are just used to being frustrated by their dating life and trying to find like these little strategies to get girls. Some guys become yoga teachers, some guys become, I mean, whatever, right? Or they pay for it, or, and many men that I meet as well, whatever, when I'm traveling or in the gym, they're complaining about girls and like coming from a very scarce position, and I'm just thinking like, oh man, what the fuck, they also don't get it.
Yeah.
And they also don't get it. And for me it's so funny because for me it's so easy, and it's very easy as well to teach other men. So I'm always surprised, and of course like with these fucking bosses in life, right, who did so business wise, they also didn't master it because they just don't get it. And I think it's just because it's a habit. And they're not aware that it's also just a skill set to improve on. So I think it's super funny as well, yeah. Like these guys are just, yeah.
I think there's actually two types of men that are successful in business now that I think about it.
Okay.
Because there is this one group that is very successful and often makes money, but their job is very technical. And then there are guys, because I'm thinking of one of my former clients in particular who was basically extremely successful, that he was working sales.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this insane confidence, and just from the fact that he was used to going after what he wants and dealing with people's emotions in a way, he was able to apply that to dating very easily. He was also naturally just a good communicator, but I think that's the two directions it goes. If you're successful in business, you're either going to be completely horrible at communication
Yeah.
and need to actually learn a few things and unlearn bad habits and patterns, or you're just naturally gifted and you just need to understand how to funnel it in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I kinda, that's actually interesting, yeah. I agree with that. Also, sometimes men have been doing business for such a long time and looking at their screen, completely focused on making money, and then all of a sudden they're like 40 and they're like, oh fuck. And then they need to relearn all these things, and they are so far away the other direction that it's going to be very challenging. But funny, yeah.
I have that a little bit when I work on legal stuff all day.
Yeah.
You're basically just in front of your computer and doing technical shit.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to other people, it's usually also about technical stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like legal documents or like whatever, but it's technical communication. Technical communication is completely different from the type of mindset and type of communication that you need to have when you're in a dating environment. So even when your job entails these talking to other people,
Mhm.
it might still not really transfer to the dating thing. I noticed that so much when I was coaching and I was working in legal stuff back in the day, and then on the weekend I would coach, and I would oftentimes go straight from working my legal job to meet a client and then go talk to women and go out with them. And I noticed how difficult it is even for me to make that switch. Like, I know exactly how to do it, right? Because I've been in that situation so many times.
Mhm.
So I can get myself to switch my mind from one mode into the other, but it's definitely not a natural thing to do.
So how would you teach your clients to do that?
I have a whole framework. I don't really want to go through it right now.
Okay.
A whole framework that I use.
No, I'm just curious because it's actually a super interesting point. And also, I'm similar than you, I also understand very quickly how to shift it, but I also feel it sometimes. I've been working on the laptop all day and then you go out and then you're like, oh shit, interesting. Because you know you have to flip it, but yeah, for us it's so easy because we basically mastered the whole game.
Yeah. I think that the number one thing that I use myself, that I've also taught my clients, is, I think you do that as well, is just talk to the first person that you meet,
100%.
and then force you almost to fuck it up on purpose. Just go all out.
It's like a little ego death,
I don't
right?
really want to share that's why I didn't want to talk about it, because it's not really aligned with my brand.
No, it's it's like a little ego death. Like you're in this mindset and then all of a sudden you're just stepping out of your comfort zone by instantly talking to a girl or to someone and then instantly you feel way better, like, oh fuck shit. Yeah, life.
I don't really need it anymore. That's kind of interesting. I
Same.
used to do it until 4 or 5 years ago, until the time we're in Kiev, or maybe a year after that. But now I really don't really need it anymore. I can kind of make my brain shift, but sometimes it's like sometimes I just don't feel it. But I've also learned to. I think that comes down again to people trying to put on a persona where you think that your normal persona is not good enough, so you need to be more funny or more charismatic. And sure, I mean, being charismatic and funny, as we know, is like a hack in dating. But I think it's just a bonus. If you're a cool guy and you can have a basic conversation and you have the confidence to walk up to a girl, everything that comes after that, basically your only job after that is to not fuck it up, right? That's where most guys fail, because then they try to be funny, they try to be charismatic.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you are charismatic or if you are funny, then it's a bonus. But if you're not funny or if you're not charismatic and you try to be charismatic or you try to be funny, it's just always going to come across as inauthentic and try hard.
And you remember those times where maybe you're doing it yourself when you were younger, how much energy that takes, like trying to be somebody you're not, and then you don't even make a connection, and then you're like exhausted basically because you're trying so hard. I think it's so funny, right? Like, I love that people always say, just be yourself, but what I would say is be your best self, and that's enough. You don't have to do anything special. If you're not funny, you don't have to be funny that day. I also have, you probably as well, that knows you don't feel funny, and that's completely fine. Just be your best self. But yeah.
Yeah, we also have moments where we just don't feel like having fun. Like, I think that's very interesting. When I had, for example, work events, and I didn't really feel like having fun. You know, I didn't really like, you know, when you're out with your colleagues and everybody's drinking, but I don't drink and I'm not really enjoying these things, and it's almost like you want to feel a little bit bad for yourself. You're like, oh, I don't really want to be here. I don't really want to be drinking, all of that shit. So you don't even want to have fun yourself. So of course your brain is also not going to make an effort to make it fun. And I think if you're then just authentically that person, that still works, right? You can still have a kind of like technical and boring conversation with somebody, and it's a lot harder than when you're in a fun, entertaining, engaging, charismatic frame of mind. Yeah, but it can still work. What I noticed is... and it definitely works better than trying to put on a persona.
Yeah, 100%. What I noticed is a mindset. Sometimes I have these moments that I can get a little bit melancholic. It doesn't happen so often, let's say once every 3 months. But when I was still single, I would be going out during daytime and just, you know, like you're just meeting girls, right? Because once you get it, it's just so easy. That I would notice that this is actually like a state of mind that is also very easy to attract girls. Like when you feel this melancholic thing about life. And I think it's because it comes from such a depth, and it's also very emotional, that women are just very attracted to that. Like it's maybe like the Bukowski writer or the Dostoevskys, or is this something that you noticed as well?
No.
Okay, yeah, could be. I noticed that it's a very interesting thing that happens. I met a lot of amazing women like that, actually.
I'm not very melancholic, or at least I don't really share that too much, but I have had these episodes where I felt depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these are very interesting moments, because when you feel depressed, you really don't feel like meeting somebody, but when you then just fully accept that, okay, that's my state of mind, and I'm just going to be honest about it and share that, that people find that very comforting and almost in a way attractive, because they're attracted to the fact that you're just being true to yourself and sharing that, I think.
100%, man. I think it also speaks of a lot of confidence if you just show that to people, because it's a human thing, right? It's something that we always experience. But I think in the end we all want to be authentic. Like if a guy is always super happy, or we're kind of like, oh, there's something wrong there. Or if somebody's never getting angry, for me it's like a big red flag. Like he's never getting angry. Interesting. I had a client and he was always very chill, but like super chill. And then we worked together, and then after a few weeks, sometimes we would meet because we lived in the same city, and then all of a sudden there was a robbery in a restaurant or something. This was in Barcelona, and he basically ran to the guy and started punching him like super crazy. And I was like, holy shit, man! And then afterwards, like, bro, what are you doing? Like crazy, man! Leave these people doing their thing. This is very toxic. Like, yeah, I have these anger issues, and I'm like, bro, you're the chillest person I've ever met in years. So, but I think it's very, I don't know what my point was now, but yeah, I think it's very attractive to show your real self. Let me put the AC off, bro, I'm getting so cold.
Wait, shall we end it or shall we keep going?
Yeah, I think it's already good now.
I think you should finish the story and tie it into then you made him approach a girl at the bank from
We're beginning with the ending. Let me put the AC off. Yeah, for me it's fine, man. I'm actually exhausted.
Yeah, same.
I feel like we need to practice it a few times to become very authentic. It's not that we're gonna practice tomorrow, it's true.
Yeah.
I think we'll have some nice things there.
Yeah.
It's also funny because when I see, I'm also seeing like, this is Niels, but it's not really the Niels that I know.
Yeah,
you know?
why? I think that I'm having such a hard time being myself on these podcasts.
Yeah, it's just, that's what I said like outside that in my head, because I know I'm not like super, I think it just needs practice, like gaming.
Yeah. You know what's very interesting? I made a reel about Andrew Tate.
Let me text the guy first, that we finished. Yeah, tell me.
I was making a video about Andrew Tate, and I was thinking of a clip I saw from a recent interview, and I knew it was from like the last 3 weeks, because it was about something that happened a couple of weeks ago. And then basically what I did is I had to like fast scroll through like 3 of his podcasts that he did recently.
Okay.
And you think that when he talks he's like super eloquent and very structured and everything. But I realized that all of the 3 podcasts, of course everybody was interested. I don't know if you know when they played the Heil Hitler song in Miami?
No, I didn't follow them.
Okay, so everybody wanted to know about this, and everybody was asking about his boxing fight.
Mm-hmm.
In all 3 podcasts, and I realized that in all 3 podcasts, he would just have the same sequence of things he would talk about, just in a bit more refined way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is also one of the keys to people being very good speakers. They just speak like Jordan Peterson on the one topic that they're really good at.
Yeah.
And they just keep refining it, and they get better at making their point.
Yeah, exactly. But
Sort of
Tate talks
furious.
about, is it that he looks at his videos and he's always looking at his videos. Oh, this is better, this is better,
I
this is
find it
better.
so hard to listen to their own shit.
Yeah, for me as well, but I think it's the way to master it. Because he makes money, and we as well in a way, we're gonna make money by so I think it's super fascinating. That's why I think like this is amazing. Like the more that I do this, the better I get at it, and I'm sure at one point I'm just gonna be like, fuck, I'm giving my points that I want to share with people.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
So
Okay, let's both share a very funny story. Oh fuck, I have to sit like this, I forgot. Let's share a funny story to end
let's
things.
take some pictures, bro. This
What's-
is like
bro,
on-screen thing.
What's the craziest story? What's the craziest thing what's the most unexpected thing that ever happened to you on
In game or?
I
I
think
think
we have stories that are not really relevant for my brand. If I could actually just tell them.
Yeah, man. I mean, we were talking about this Paris story, right, a few days ago, and then I was thinking like, how many 2-minute pulls did I had in my whole 20s? And I think I had like more than 10 or something. It's pretty
Okay.
crazy.
Nice.
But the Paris thing is pretty crazy. Yeah. What about you?
Do you know the story about me having a threesome in Prague? Okay, I think it was briefly after we hung out last time, like in 2021 or something. I went to London, and it was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I walked around in the center, met a girl in a coffee shop, and went on a date, had like a coffee and whatever. And then she moved to, oh no, she was from Prague. She was just visiting London. So I go back to Germany. It was COVID. There was nothing to do. I was texting with this girl, and she invites me to come to Prague.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason, I decided to take a bus to get there. I think it's just a 4-hour drive from Munich. Or maybe a car, whatever. I drive to Prague for the weekend. And when I get there, Friday night at like 9:30 or something, because I drove there after work, right? So I get there and text her, and she's like, yeah, it's already quite late, so I'm gonna go to sleep. And I was staying in an Airbnb, right? Because we didn't know each other that well. So I'm staying in this Airbnb, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I came here and she's not even free. So we agreed to meet the next morning. And I'm like, fuck, it's 9:30 on Friday, so I started swiping on dating apps. Have a few matches, but nothing really too exciting. Then I matched with one girl that I kind of like, and we're only 300 meters from one another. So we text, and her profile is 3 girls, and like pictures of her, and then one with 3 girls. And then she's like, hey, by the way, I'm here with my friends from the picture. Whatever, so I don't think about it too much. And then after a while, she's like, hey, actually, it's not me texting, it's my friend on the left, which, yeah, was not the friend that, let's put it this way.
Okay.
Was like a bit too thick for me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, fuck this, not gonna meet them. And then it's like 2 hours later, I go out, get a kebab, it's like 1 a.m. or 1:30,
Yeah.
and this girl texts me again. So I realized that I'm literally like 30 meters from the house, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna go and see what happens. So I go to her house, and it's these 3 girls hanging and getting drunk, because it's COVID and there's nothing to do. And I go in, and the girl that I didn't like, of course, starts hitting on me super hard. But she's kind of funny, right? She's really funny, and she like calls herself, I don't remember. She's just like talking crazy shit. And then another 10 guys, no, 6 guys maybe show up. They're from the UK,
Yeah.
and they all get drunk together.